Alright, so a special level 2 member request here, so thank you very much for that. And with this song here, we're just going to do standard tuning, E, A, D, G, B, E, and quite a few different kind of sections, like riffs, I guess you would say, and two guitars that are kind of happening simultaneously. Sometimes they're doing divergent things over the top of each other, so some parts here we'll just try to like combine the best of both of them. But if there's any like super distinct thing that each one's doing, we'll try to cover that as well. So for this initial first guitar, which I would call like the right guitar if you're listening on like headphones or something, the more dominant guitar I would say, this intro verse section, we play around with this B7 sus, F sharp minor, E sus 4 thing, but real exotic sounding stuff, but nothing too wild. So the initial B7 sus, we're going to do it all pretty much in this area. Just hit the 2s, and if you do this right and you can handle it, basically if you just bar the 2nd fret, all you really have to do is, you know, play around with a couple notes, and then you can get the whole progression. You don't really have to like switch around and change too much if you just are cool with just holding that 2nd fret down. So that's what we're going to do, just bar the 2nd fret at the A string down to the B, and then we want a 4 on the D initially here, and this B7 sus 2, and with this we kind of hit it, and then we do this little walk up on the B string, which is 2nd fret, 3rd to 5th. Okay, and then we just come back off to the chord a couple times, and then we just walk that B string down, 5, 3, 2, and then hit 2 on the G. Alright, so we went. Alright, and then we start our next chord, which is F sharp minor, and we already have that ready to rock at the 4th fret of the D here. So we'll hit that 4 on the D, and then we just pick up the 2nd fret B to G, and then go 3, 2 on the B, 2 G, we switch to our E6 sus 4, which is just lift that 4 off, keep all the 2s on the D, G, and B, hit the 2D, 2D, and then strum the 2s on the G and B a couple times, and then do a little walk up on the G string, couple 2s to 4. Okay, so just slowly, let's try it, the whole thing here. And that guitar basically repeats that a handful of times, and like I said, there's a 2nd guitar over the top of it, and it's just doing some kind of light accenting things over it. And you could just do like 2s on the G, B, E a couple times, and then we go to a 5th fret on the high E. Okay, back off to the 2 on the E, strum the 2s, pick down through them, G, B, E. Alright, then we go 2 to 3 on the B, kind of hold that a moment, and then we pick through 2G, hit the octave at the 5E, open E, and then we do 2G, 2E, 3B. Alright, and that's just kind of like lightly happening on like the left side, just kind of accenting what the other guitar is doing. The end of the verse and the intro, there's a little subtle thing that happens. We go through the progression as usual, our B7, the walk up, you know, strum again, walk it down, go to the F sharp minor at the 4, pick through that with the 2s, 3 2s, so. Alright, but then once we get to our E, we'll hit the 2 on the D, and then we just do this slide up on the G. We hit 4, slide up to 6, and then back down to 4, 2, 4. It's just a subtle little thing that happens at the end of like the intro and the verse sections there. Other than that, we would get to, I guess I would call this the chorus progression. We see this pretty much the remainder of the song, you know, when we get back to kind of like the normal sections. But anyway, it starts with that same kind of B7 sus2, the 2-4 with the 2s. But we kind of, the dynamic feels a little different here. We hit it, and then we'll pick the 2G, 2E, 3B. Then we do a B string walk down, but it's a little more emphasized here. We hit like 4 5s, couple 3s, then 2. Alright, now we're going to switch to a D major 7 sus2. So switch the middle chord here. So we do the open D. It's pretty similar. We keep those 2s on the G and B. So you can do like a quick little 2G, then hit the 2 on the G and B, throw in an open high E with it. Okay, something like that. And then just kind of resolve it down to just 2s on the B and E. Something like that. Play around with that note, that high E, the open to 2 there. After that, we'll get to our E6 sus2, the 2 on the D, hit the 4G, then strum it full with like the 4G, 2 on the B and E, and then pick like the 2B, 2E. So slowly it'd be. And you can you know, get as loose with that as you want. You know, pick notes that you think sound cool. It's a pretty loose vibe. So it just kind of as long as you get like the intro like dynamics of each chord and, you know, the timing of each chord, then you can have fun with that. This next section, bridge section, I would call it. You definitely feel like a key shift here. It goes to this G, and it's like a flat 5 vibe, so it's like a real funky thing happening here. But if you want to include the bass notes with this, you can. It'll help. I think it helps to give a little more context, because it's definitely a big shift that we're doing here. So it goes to this G with the flat 5, so you can throw in this bass note here, the 3 on the E, and then I just kind of give that a strum as a chord initially. Like you can keep the A muted, but throw in like an open D and G, but we want this 2 on the B. That's really kind of like what the guitar is emphasizing here. And it's just doing these like quarter note hits on it. Maybe even 8th note hits. Yeah, 8th note hits. And it's just keeping those going for about 8 times or so, and then it starts to slowly bend it and does a slow release on it. And then the bass note shifts to the G flat or F sharp here at the 2, so you can throw that in if you want, maybe a little hybrid pick on it. And then just strum out those 2s for about 8 times or so. And then it just goes to an open E and an open B. And it just keeps that B going. Alright. It goes through that about 1 time, and then it kind of like makes it even bigger. And here you can just kind of strum on it like a chord. You know, some funky chord names here, but it's basically just kind of this G shape, but we're including like open D and G with B and E on the 2 here. And don't worry so much about the A string, you just kind of keep that muted, but we're just strumming away on it just like that. And then the bass note shifts to 2nd fret here, the G flat, and you can kind of like shove over if you want like that, and just I kind of hit it that way. It's a real dissonant thing happening here. And then just lift off to the open E and just keep the same open D and G, 2 on the B and E. Alright. And eventually after that it'll go back to some of the like the chorus section again. And then we get to this outro section, which you can just shift to like power chord shapes here. And we come up high with this at this G power chord, the 10A, 12 on the D and G there. Alright. And it's kind of like hit, 1, 2, up to 12 and 14 for a hit for the A power chord. Drop down to the E power chord at the 7 and 9s. Hit that once, couple more, up to the 9 and 11 for the F sharp. Couple hits. So it's. And then we can shift to, I kind of like to just do some octave shapes here. Move to the low set here. So we got a B, and this is kind of like a B minor vibe, but it's just hitting octaves really. So do the 7 E 9 D, couple hits, one more to 9 and 11. Okay, for that D sharp minor thing. Drop down to 5 and 7 for the A, couple hits, down to 2 and 4 the F sharp, couple hits. Alright, and we repeat the power chords to the octave shapes. Go through that a couple times, but then eventually we just kind of like stay on the low set octaves and repeat those. Okay, and as those are repeating, the second guitar comes in and does a little something over the top of it. It's just this picking up here, the G, B, and E string. We go 11 G, 10 B, and then 10 B, 11 G, 9 E, 10 B, 11 G, and then we slide over, hit the 10 E, 9 E, 10 B. Alright, go through it again up until we hit the 10 E. And then we just kind of hold it there the second time. Alright, and after that, we just kind of do this descending chord here. Start with the D major 7 look, the open D, 2 on the G and B. Just hit it, let it ring. Then same deal, but just throw in a different bass note. The 4 on the A. You can keep the D muted if you want. So it's like a D flat thing happening now, but the same 2 on the B and G. Hit it, let it ring, and then we switch to our B7 sus2, the 2A, 4D, 2 on the B and G. Alright, and those three chords just repeat all the way to the end. Alright, and once you got all those parts, you should be ready to rock.